Hello, everyone, and welcome to Grip Lock, Foundation Disc Golf's weekly podcast. I'm Hunter, joined, as always, by Trevor. First off, we're just going to start off, instead of doing a review, we're going to start off with a little bit of a mailbag. So you probably saw or listened to a few weeks ago where I got the mailbag of this mug, and it has this coaster, and Trevor realized that the coaster was also a top to the mug. So if you're listening, basically, the coaster is the perfect size to also cover the mug.
It was impressive deduction.
It was impressive. And upon doing that, Debbie, who made us this mug, actually ended up making Trevor a mug as well.
Yeah.
Which is sick. His is like so mine's like a camo background. His has grass. And his actually says Trevor's Trivia on the side.
Yeah, so I got this note from Debbie, and it said, Trevor, enclosed is your reward for figuring out that the coaster can also be used as a mug cover. Good job. I can totally put myself in her shoes. She probably knew she wanted to be a mug cover and was probably just really hoping that we'd figure it out. Because you make something
sitting there as a coaster.
Yeah, you make something and you want somebody so badly to know how it functions. But no, she sent me this awesome mug. It says Trevor's Trivia. It's got the grass.
It's got the foundation on the back.
The logo on the back, but super nice. Thanks a lot, Debbie.
And the mug cover.
Yeah, and the mug cover.
Mug cover coaster hybrid.
It is a very versatile mug.
Yeah, it's
much
pretty
appreciated.
Sick. But we also, this past weekend, as you may know, you probably know, the Photon Zone release happened.
I shudder hearing the name.
Yeah, just flashbacks, man. So they dropped on Friday, and they actually just sold out this morning. This is Wednesday morning, where they're officially gone. We've officially sold out of them.
Yes.
Which is quite the feat. We had a lot of them.
Yes.
Way too many.
Mm-hmm. Well, apparently not.
Yeah, I thought it was actually
apparently not too many.
Looking back on it, I think it was one of our more successful drops because we sold out, which is always the goal when you're releasing something new. And everyone who wanted one was able to get one. Because
right, that's a new thing.
It took till Wednesday to sell out. So there was no one sitting there ticked off because they missed out on the drop. At least they shouldn't be. If you are, I don't know what to tell you.
You had days,
I mean, I can't do anything more. The night of, I was a little stressed because they weren't selling out, and I'm I don't know.
We're just used to it because we don't usually have enough.
Yeah, we normally don't have enough to meet demand, and they sell out immediately. So I was like, it's a failure. And I was like, as the days went on, I was like, this is actually a pretty good success because they're still kind of flowing through.
Really, once we woke up the next morning, we're like, oh, actually, no, it did pretty well.
A few hundred left starting
the next
Sunday morning.
Yeah.
Saturday morning, there was close to 1,000 still.
Yeah.
And so it just kind of sold over the next few days. The majority went Friday night, which was good. But then we had to pack all the orders. And our shipping policy is next business day, we get them out, period. So we always do. It's what we strive to do. We had, I don't even know how many orders. It was thousands of orders.
Yeah.
Coming into Monday. And so we got as many people as we could. The plan was to have me, Trevor, Connor, my wife, Connor's wife, Silas, one of our friends, Ethan, and I believe Ethan was bringing a friend. Yeah, because that was 8 of us.
Right.
So the plan was to have 4 people.
8.
The Foundation 8. That we turned this podcast studio into a packing corner.
It was
so we had 3 tables, every box we could possibly fit under here, and then we had our system. But the plan was going to have 4 people pulling and 4 people packing. And with that plan, we could have packed about 400-ish orders an hour. Pulled and packed about 400-some orders an hour. It would have went pretty smoothly. Well, then Sunday came. And Sunday.
Man.
So Sunday, I answer all the customer service emails, and then Trevor starts buying the labels. During Trevor buying the labels, his wife gets sick, and she almost had to go to the hospital. And so he had to obviously tend to her. So he didn't get to buy the labels. So that set him back a little bit. About 3 hours. It set him back. Then Connor was in Charlotte, got back, and then that night his wife gets sick and actually does have to go to the hospital. And Connor's at the hospital with her all night. And so then Connor ends up not even able to come in until lunchtime the next day. And obviously his wife wasn't able to come in. And so that knocked us out of Connor and Connor's wife, and then knocked us out of 3 hours of Trevor. And then also, this doesn't really affect the drop, but the day before, or when all of this is going on, I happened to get stung by a bee, and apparently it was the first time in my life I've ever been stung by a bee, And turns out I'm highly allergic to bees. So I get stung by a bee, and next thing I know, my hands are swelling up. I have hives coming all up my arm, and I went to urgent care, and I was there for a few hours.
It was not looking good for us.
Yeah, it was just a really rough Sunday.
Everyone was getting beat up on
and
Sunday.
So we showed up Monday just
defeated,
beaten, battered before we ever even started the war that was the Photon zones. So needless to say, it took us... Oh, and then on top of all of that, we get Monday, we just put our heads down, we grind. We get about half of the orders done. And we're like, okay, it's like 3:30, 4 o'clock, whatever time it is. We need to get these to the post office now. We have like an acceptance form that puts all of them on to one thing, so the post office doesn't have to scan every individual package. So we show up.
All the orders, even the ones that we haven't packed yet.
Yeah, everything we had bought the shipping label for.
Yeah.
So we show up to the post office with what we had filled. We're load them onto the dock. Post office, no one comes out. That's just how it works because they expect us to be there. We're loading them all onto the dock. We get them all out onto the dock, and then someone walks out to meet us, and we explain to them what's going on, and they're like, we can't accept half the packages. Like, we can't scan. If we scan the form, it means we have all the packages, and we don't have all the packages, and we can't store them overnight because everything that comes in is supposed to go out the same day. So we can't take them. After we'd already unloaded thousands of packages on their doorstep.
Yeah.
And so then we had to solve the problem of where do we put these packages? Because we couldn't put them back here because we had to fill the next thousands the next day. So luckily, my dad had a work van that could fit a lot of them, like a full big size work van, just completely empty. We just filled it, and then we had our work van. We filled that, and then we filled the back of Trevor's car, and that fit all of the day one packages. And then we just had to just take that first thing the next morning and then reload all the vehicles the next day. We got it all out Tuesday. Yesterday, I left the post office done at 4:30.
It was a heroic effort from everybody. Important to note also, it was not the post office's fault that they couldn't take the packages. Not their fault. They honestly are troopers for how they handled us. And they're always really good to us. But in any case, that's just my post office propaganda so that they don't hate us. Just in case somebody's listening.
One thing you also forgot that's not that important, but Trevor was also driving his wife's car because his car exploded.
Oh yeah, my car also exploded. Things are just happening.
It was just a perfect storm. And yet we got them out in 2 days, 2 business days. So we missed our promise by one, but we were able to get them all out yesterday. And the truck, they said they had to have them on the dock by 5 because the last truck comes at like 5:30. And so I was starting to get a little nervous, but they're all on the dock at 4:30. So we were fine. We did it.
Miraculous.
Yeah, we rolled up like a convoy. We had like 6 cars full when we showed up. And then we had our weekly we had to run at 5. And so Trevor just went straight to Bedford, which is 30 minutes away.
And then to end it all, just played the worst disc golf of my life. Just went up and just blew up at the weekly.
Yeah, and then we just finished it off already going into the weekly destroyed and brain dead. I played average.
I had fun.
I shot my handicap. I shot what my handicap is.
Yeah, I had fun.
No, it was a good time. Connor ditched us.
Ditched us.
Just to be clear, I did not ditch us.
Well, he might not ditch you. You ditched me.
I did not.
I felt
what
ditched.
happened was we ended up having to use my car to go to the post office.
Oh, here we go.
And so I didn't have time to go home and get my bag and my shoes before the weekly.
Just play barefoot and grab a putter, man.
Yeah, I mean, come on.
You probably play the best round of your life.
I probably would play the best round of my life, honestly. Definitely better than
you
last
get that
week.
flex buzz, man.
Yeah,
best round.
Yeah, that
of your
thing
life.
flies amazing. I can't wait for Hunter to put that in his bag.
I mean, who wouldn't bag that thing, dude?
I mean, at this point, I can't bag it.
Just for the
I feel like it's not funny to everybody. Just listen to an inside joke.
No, they have no idea. Connor gave me a buzz forever ago. He thought I would love it. He thought it'd fly great. And then
because what happened was I had it in my bag and I took it out of my bag and Hunter was like, "Oh, let me see that thing. That thing is so cool." And he's like, "Trevor, check this out."
It is sick.
And so I was like, "You know what? Hunter thinks this disc is really cool. I'm gonna give it to him."
This is also like when you
really nice.
were first working here, so like it was like almost like a
it could have just been exaggerated.
Yeah, here's my buzz. Like it's like sick, but like you can have it.
Yeah, exactly.
Like it's like a token.
But it was
like sitting in here in the office ever since.
It was like the same time I was taking the buzz out of my bag to put the MD3
I don't
in.
think so.
I don't really blame him. I just think it's funny to make fun of him.
I played with buzzes for like one more week.
Whatever, dude.
And now it's just sitting on the shelf. But now I feel obligated to not put it in my bag because it's just like a running joke.
It is pretty funny that it just
every time we
Honestly,
get in my car,
should bag
I
it
just
at this rate, man.
That's true. Maybe we'll
it's an ESP Flex Buzz, and it flies pretty nice.
I wouldn't know how it
Feels
flies,
great.
but it feels great. Feels amazing. All right, in non-us news,
Enough about us.
we had the Resistance Discs Open and the Utah Open happen last week. This is going to be like our Worlds preview show, so we're going to park on Worlds for a long time. So I'm going to kind of breeze through the Resistance Disc Open. We're going to park on the Utah Open a little bit more because it's basically a pre-Worlds.
Yeah.
But yeah, I know people are going to talk about we're not going to park on any of the storylines from the Resistance Disc Open just because we have so much I want to get through about Worlds that yeah, that's the reasoning.
Nice.
But we did have Adam Hammes show up and absolutely just annihilate the field. Yeah. He won by 7 strokes. I will say though, Mr. Scott Withers did end up coming in second.
We called that.
We had him in both of us had him in the top 3.
Both in the top 3, yeah. We saw that coming.
What was our other Eagle was in the top 3, but he ended up not going, right?
I think it's because Eagle like last minute, or no, it's Heimberg. Last minute didn't play.
Yeah, there's Eagle. I think Eagle was on the list too. Might have been both of them. Regardless, our top 3 got screwed by that. But then Jeremy Colling came in 3rd. That's the first time we've said his name in a result in a while.
Every once in a while, man. It doesn't
He'll just kind of pop off.
It doesn't completely shock me.
No. Yeah, he's definitely got all the skills he needs to be up there. It's just, I think, recently he's got so much other things going on, which I think career-wise is very smart for him.
Yeah.
That his play sometimes might suffer from it. And I've heard him talk about that before.
I think there's a lot of forehands at that course, too.
Yeah.
I think that had a lot to do with it.
Yeah. I've heard him talk about it before where basically, like, Jomez and doing commentary and all these like media things, like it's so smart for him to do, but like it almost hurts him because he's like, I really want to just play at the top level, but I know like long-term career-wise, this is my better choice.
It's a balance, man. It's a balance. I just hope
it's definitely a tough position.
Yeah, I hope those guys that are like committing themselves like more so to the media, like him and like Sexton, I hope that they're able to stay in that long term as more people get involved in disc golf media. Cause
I think they will.
I think they will too, because obviously we've seen like CBS did the coverage and they went to them.
Yeah. Well, it's just the thing that they're so loved.
Yeah.
By the disc golf community. I know you have opinions that are opposing to the disc golf community on some things, but
no, I don't.
But
Sexton, Sexton and Germ are fine. I really like Sexton. Germ's okay. Like he's funny
across the board. If you asked people the top commentators, Nate Sexton and Jeremy Colling are there
every time. Yeah,
and I've always enjoyed it. I get where you're coming from, where they might not be that super professional like sports broadcast, but at the same time, when rubber meets the road, we're throwing frisbees in a park.
No.
So like,
that's a bad take, but in any case,
I'm saying like it has more of a relaxed sport type feel.
That's a whole different topic. But in any case, I think Sexton's...
I like the commentary.
The only problem I have with Colling is that he sometimes loses himself on tangents and like kind of can't find his words. Sometimes I think he's like really funny, but his wit isn't quite quick enough to like catch up to what he's trying to say, and he'll just say something ridiculous.
But sometimes that's funnier.
I mean, it's... Right, but it's funny like because it's on YouTube. If it was on like a national broadcast, I'd be like, yikes. But... Doesn't matter. Not important. Not important. 3rd. Good job, Jerem.
Yeah. FPO, I predicted this one right. I was pretty proud of it because Deanne Carey shredded and wins by 15.
She did, dude.
Over Brittany Quisenberry came in 2nd, and Kat Murch came in 3rd. I didn't realize Kat Murch was there.
Yeah, she didn't play well. Deanne Carey gave everybody the business.
Yeah.
That was impressive.
Yeah. Very impressive win by her. Congrats to her. I think she's been on tour for a little bit, her and her husband. I think AJ Carey had a pretty solid performance too, her husband. I think he came in like 7th or something. So pretty good weekend for both of them. And then Dark Horse might be confused because we both got coffee. Connor's even got coffee back there. Ooh, who got it?
Yeah, that's all it is.
Basically, I won, and then Trevor's like, well, Hunter doesn't get any special treatment, so he bought everyone coffee.
Yep.
So, but I won. Tristan Tanner lit it up.
The meme is back. I had like one little break from it, but I've now lost I've probably lost like 10 out of 12 weeks or something like that at this point. It's literally becoming like if you hear me pick you as the dark horse, you should be very scared.
Just drop out.
Just drop. Now I will say,
hey, Max Nichols did that.
I will say the only week that somebody said, "Hey, pick me as the dark horse pick." It was Kirby, I think his name was,
and you won.
I won. So maybe you just need to come to me because if I go to you and pick you, you're toast.
Yeah. So I'm really sorry for whoever Trevor picks for Worlds. We'll get to that later. But
God bless.
I'm so sorry.
You're in trouble.
Speaking of Worlds, the Utah Open, I thought it was funny, the gatekeeper coverage of the Utah... First off, a lot of people kept saying, like, no one's covering the Utah Open. Why does it matter? Gatekeeper covered it. We knew... there was no way that event was going to happen, and no one was going to cover it.
As a coverage company, it's free money. Everybody's going to want to, like...
It's a Worlds preview. Yeah. It's got Ricky, Nikko, like, Emerson. It had a bunch of top pros. It was you're basically printing money.
Yeah,
you could have covered the third card at Resistance Disc.
Nobody's even covering that. Yes, they are.
Yeah,
of course they are.
Of course, like you think.
Like, come on now.
I mean, we would have almost flew a crew out there to cover it.
If
like,
nobody was covering that. Sheesh, we would have gone to Utah.
Someone was always going to cover it, but Gatekeeper covered it. They literally called it World's Preview. Their coverage.
Well, of course, that's a business move right there.
Yeah.
No fault to them.
But I will say, overall, it might not have been as bad for Worlds as we thought.
Yeah, it actually made it more interesting because of who won.
Yeah, I thought so. You put a poll out on Twitter, on the Foundation Twitter.
Yeah,
over 900 votes on this poll, basically asking about the event on the same courses. 55% said the results were it's dumb or it's cool. 55% said it was dumb, and 45% said it was cool. Some people in the comments tried bringing up Ledgestone in Worlds back in 2019. Ledgestone happened in June, and Worlds happened in August.
Here's the other thing. That's a previous year example. Like learn from that.
But that's not a bad. Like,
but it's not,
Utah
even,
Open
it's not
happened,
even that big of a deal. You're right.
If the Utah Open happened so Worlds is happening in June. So if Utah Open happened in, what would that be, April?
Yeah,
I don't think that's an issue because there's 2 months of where you don't see the course.
It's the fact that it's literally like a warm up round. Like
it's
right before.
Like we watched the coverage mainly to see Nikko, which we'll talk about later.
You're gonna watch the same course,
but now we're gonna go watch the same courses. So that's what I didn't like is it's back to back. If it was like Ledgestone's case, it was in June and then Worlds is in August. You got like a whole month of other events going on to where it didn't give players an advantage. It doesn't make the coverage. You don't have to worry about getting boring and repetitive where people are going to watch 8 rounds on the same 2 courses now. Mm-hmm. That was the whole thing, but. Overall, it might not have been too bad because Emerson Keith ended up winning and beating Ricky.
What I was really scared of and was going to be a little bit annoyed at is because I expected Ricky to go out there, smack everybody around, and now Ricky's got all this momentum, and we're all like, oh shoot, that's a pretty good indicator that Ricky's going to win Worlds. But now it's a little bit interesting because Emerson Keith went out there and won by 7 or something.
I think something like that.
He won by a bunch.
That definitely makes it more exciting
now because now I'm thinking, was that because Emerson is just gonna be good at Worlds because he just owns these courses, or is that because Ricky is just not good at these courses?
Yeah, and then Kyle Klein ended up coming in 3rd, so that's also an interesting one because there was some other good players. Like Nikko was in 11th or something, which Nikko had himself a weekend. But on FPO, really quick about FPO, I think
pretty normal.
I don't want to say what we were worried about happening on MPO because what the heck? You just kicked my table. Because everyone was expecting Paige to dominate Worlds, and Paige dominated this event. But that's basically what we were saying could have happened on MPO.
Right.
But yeah, I mean...
It's just weird. I just don't like seeing those that happen, that tournament results, right before Worlds. I don't know.
Well, now, this storyline, I don't like.
Weird.
I don't like what's about to come out of my mouth because I think it crossed everyone's mind. But at the same time, you got to say it. What does this bode well for Emerson Keith possibly having a run like in 2019?
Yeah, it does. It absolutely does.
I don't want to say he's a favorite to win it because I don't think so.
There's a lot of rounds, but it's
hard to deny what he did.
His personal confidence is gonna be all I got to do is have the same game plan and just do it for 5 rounds, and I can certainly be in it. I can play better than Ricky.
Yeah,
it's absolutely I would almost at this point I'm gonna be surprised if he did now. There's obviously sometimes there'll be reverse effects to that. You get a little overconfident. You know you can win, so then that maybe makes you a little more nervous because you're capable of it. And I'm still never picking Emerson, even probably in the top 10. But it seems a bit more feasible now.
Yeah,
he just hasn't been good this season, so it's just super weird.
What was interesting in 2019 is it was right around the time his wife was supposed to have their baby.
Yeah,
it was getting close to the due date. It wasn't quite the due date, so it wasn't he was risking anything being at Worlds, but. He had said if he wasn't in the top, I think it was top 5 or top 10 going into the last 2 days, he was going to go home to be with his wife because she was due the next week and it's their first kid, so he wanted to be with her.
Yeah,
and then he was in a chance to win it in 2019.
He had
going the last 2 days.
He had a good 2019 though overall.
Yeah, no, he did.
So it wasn't that was his season where everybody's oh, Emerson's a big dog on tour, and then now he
hasn't really done much
anything.
Recently.
Yeah,
but I mean. Who knows? Maybe he is to Worlds what Kevin Jones is to USDGC, where he just somehow is always up there now.
Kevin Jones is a lot better though.
But that's what when Kevin Jones was coming onto the scene, he just every year at USDGC, you don't hear about Kevin Jones all year, and then I know where it's like, what the heck? Where's this guy from Pro Discus?
It would certainly
throwing
be
jokeries
an interesting little storyline.
Yeah,
man, shout out to Pro Discus Kevin Jones.
I hope Emerson at least gets on like lead card, because whenever I think back and I think about any round or any coverage I've ever watched with Emerson in, it's always fun to watch. He's just a really...
He's entertaining.
His style is different than a lot of other players.
Yeah.
Because it has to be, because he's a small guy.
Yeah.
And so, like, his style is so different, so it's really interesting to watch.
Yeah.
Now, on the flip side of that coin, as good as it ended up for Emerson, do you think this actually has any negative effects on Ricky?
No, I think it's actually more positive, because I think Ricky, is an experienced player, been there, done that. So I think for Ricky, it's mostly like now he's able to reflect on, okay, where did I make mistakes, and what can I do to fix these mistakes? Like he has real course, like tournament experience on these courses, to where he'll be able to apply that to his worlds and know where he made mistakes and what. Because knowing Ricky, and I haven't looked super in depth into the stats, but he'll know where he needs to change things up. So no, I don't think that's going to hurt him in the slightest. I think it'll just be a good adjustment for him.
Yeah. So Emerson, it was only 3 strokes. Emerson won by 3.
It just ended up being 3.
So I agree with you. I don't think this is really a bad thing for Ricky.
Because Ricky has a complete game. It's not like there's a course out there that doesn't suit him.
Yeah. Well, I think it's 2 reasons. One, Worlds is going to have a lot different feel and pressure, and that's something that Ricky's a lot more used to, that top in competition pressure at Worlds, like being on the big stage, being on that. So I think there's going to be a different Ricky that shows up starting next week. There's also 2 more rounds. Mm-hmm. That's why when you said 7 strokes, I was like, why did I write only 2 more rounds? But it's because it was only 3 strokes.
Right.
So you give Ricky 2 more rounds, he definitely could have won and beat Emerson. So now it was like the format. They played 1 round at Mulligan, the golf course, and 2 rounds at the Fort, which World is going to be 3 rounds at the Fort, 2 rounds at the golf course.
How is that? Is it literally 3-2?
Mm-hmm.
They're going to finish 2 in a row on the golf course?
No, it finishes at the Fort. So the Fort's not the golf course. Mulligan is the golf course.
Oh, is it going? Wait, say it.
I'm pretty sure it goes. It might finish 2 in a row at the Fort.
So it goes 3 on the golf, 2.
No, 3 on the non-golf, 2 on the golf course.
Oh, so it goes 2-3. Or how does is it? Or is it like
they're alternate?
Okay, I didn't know if they were going back and forth or if they were going.
They might play 2 in a row, because I feel like they start.
That's what I'm wondering. Let
me find the course schedule here. So at Worlds, the A pool goes Mulligan, the Fort, Mulligan, the Fort, the Fort. So they go back to back. Friday, Saturday, the A pool, people in contention are going to be at the Fort both days.
So the golf course, disc golf course, and then 2 at the Fort, the disc golf course to end.
Yep.
That's
but this course, so this is basically like the last 3 rounds. They went golf course, disc golf course, disc golf course.
I will say though, I did get a chance, and I've seen this golf course before, but I got a chance to watch some of it because basically I was looking to watch Nikko explode. But this is much different than all the golf courses they've been playing. It's way shorter.
A lot more technical.
A lot more technical. It's almost like you take the up shots from it was Portland, right?
Yep.
It's almost like you take the up shots from that and turn that into the course. There's like...
It's not... We shouldn't see a lot of rollers and...
Right. It's not going to be the huge distance and roller shots. No. So it's really not going to compare... It's not going to be like, oh, wow, look for Eagle to pop off at the golf course. Because that's just not even going to apply. Like, he obviously might.
The distance obviously gives you some advantage because it's still a long course, but it's nothing like... Right. Most of the whole, it's like
you're not throwing 700-foot rollers.
Yeah,
really,
that's just not really necessary.
Yeah,
95% of the holes.
So that I'm glad for that. I'm glad for that. I'm a fan of the more technical style. I'm not sure how much I like the course, to be honest. There's just something about these golf courses where like every pin is just surrounded by like 3 bunkers.
Yeah, just hazards.
And like I do appreciate how difficult those upshots are, and I also understand that that's the only way you can defend a golf course other than using OB, like roped OB. But man, there is some vicious rolls and stuff into those bunkers. It is vicious.
No, for sure.
But I don't mind. It's technical, I guess.
Yeah, I would rather see this type of golf course than just a long bomber
at least
roller golf
what I will
course.
say about it is if the greens are going to be so tricky, at least golf courses are typically really well manicured, so you're not like just going to hit a random stick and kick up and roll. Like if you're
it's not going to be roots by the basket.
If you can control the angle of your disc, you can usually keep it flat. So
yeah, we'll talk about the world's courses a little bit more later in the show. But on FPO at the Utah Open, Paige won by 9, Kat came in second, and Valerie Mandujano came in third. Did I nail that? I don't remember.
I think you did.
I think I done did it. Because I feel like I keep picking Valerie, and I think she finally came in third.
It's pretty obvious there's only one person standing between Paige and Worlds.
And that's
that
herself.
Person, no. The person is Kristen Tatar.
See, that's going to be an interesting talking point
because
later.
If Kat just lost by 9, that's not good.
To me, this is a big confident boost for Paige.
Oh, yeah.
Was Kristen Tatar at this event, actually?
At the
Utah Open?
I'd
be surprised. So. I was actually overall... no, because she's still in...
quarantine, right?
Yeah. I was overall surprised at the lack of touring pros on the MPO side that were actually here.
Yeah.
Because if you go by rating, like sort down, you have Ricky, Matty O is the next one at 1038, which, holy cow, Matty O is really high rated. Dallin Blanchard and James Conrad. Basically, the top tier pros, you have Ricky, James Conrad, Nikko Locastro, Kyle Klein, Emerson Keith.
I think that might be like... there might be a lot of pros who are thinking, hey, there might be some that just wanted the week off because sometimes you just need to like rest before a big tournament.
Yeah.
Or maybe there's a lot that are like that just don't want to play a tournament on the course, that it would get in their head.
Maybe.
You know?
Kristen Tatar was not there. But yeah, 9 strokes across 3 rounds for Paige. It makes it so tough to imagine someone else winning across 5 rounds.
Kat is not going to hang with
What's
her.
impressive, what's going to be cool though, is this is going to be, if Paige wins, Paige will be able to keep her every other year streak, only winning on odd years.
But it will back-to-back.
And be her first back-to-back because there wasn't Worlds last year. So this would be Paige's first time going back-to-back because she's went... when did she win first? Was it 11? Was 11 her first
15,
one?
17, 19.
11, 13, 15, 17, 19. And she's came in second all those other years, I'm pretty sure. Or close to it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, basically,
she's
never won 2 in a row.
It's crazy to think that Paige could very easily...
Paige could be a 10-time world champion.
Yeah, like she could very easily.
But she's 5 right now. This would be her 6th. This would officially separate her.
Yeah.
Because there's 3 women, I believe, at 5. At least 2.
Is it?
Juliana Korver has 5.
Korver and Elaine both have 5, I think.
Or does Elaine have 4 and Des Redding have 5?
Oh, yeah. It might be Des has 5 and Elaine
I think
has
there's
4.
3 women with 5 right now. Valerie Jenkins has 4. But this would... no one has 6.
She would be...
That's the key.
She would only be like second to Climo, like overall.
Yeah. So she could get her 6th here and her first back-to-back and really farther solidify her as the GOAT.
Yeah.
And people can make some arguments here and there, but it's getting harder and harder to make any argument.
She is.
With that being said, before we get into any more world stuff, let's go ahead and jump over to the fan favorite segment, Trevor's Trivia. What do you got today?
All right, so I, got a little bit of a worlds themed question. It's just one question. I'm kind of sticking to the more simple questions these days, but I thought this is kind of an interesting one. So the question is this. You might get this right away, or it might take a little bit of thought. We'll see. So the question is, what do the 2010 MPO World Champ, 2005 MPO World Champ, and 2011 FPO World Champ have in common?
2005, 2010, and which was the third?
2011 FPO.
So 11 FPO we just said was Paige.
Mm-hmm.
So what does Paige, the 2010 MPO, it's the year after Jenkins. It might be Doss. Who won in 2010? And then who won in 2000?
2005 is the last one.
I got to think of who these players are.
That's probably that might be the most difficult part.
And what do they have in common?
Mm-hmm.
Who is the 2005? I think 2010 is Doss. Am I right in that or no?
I'm not going to tell you.
Oh, so I have to just think it all through. 2005. There's a chance that 2005 and 2010 are Doss. Crap. No, 2010 is Eric McCabe. So then we have Eric McCabe and Paige Pierce. 2005, though. Who won in 2005? Eric McCabe, Paige Pierce, 2005 world champion. That's got to be Doss. Do they all win with Discraft?
That's it.
All right.
Each one of them won with Discraft. Yep.
Was it Doss? Is Doss 2005?
Yeah, you got them all. You got them all correct.
Nice.
Because the tricky part was obviously
I knew Eric McCabe when I heard it was Eric and Paige. I was thinking as some type of Discraft or dynamic thing because I know Paige Paige's first was with Discraft.
Yeah, Paige and Eric both won their first world titles with Discraft. Good job.
Wow.
I was like, when you said 2010 was DOS, I was like, oh no.
I would probably...
EMAC is the sneakiest world champ.
Before I ever figured out 2005, when I had DOS and Paige in my head, I almost just said it anyways. That they just all went with Discraft.
It's basically what Barsby will be in about 10 years from now. Like that guy that, like, well, who won in 2018?
And you mean he'll just be putting out his discs? Like the Barsby Roadrunner and the Barsby, like, modifying?
Oh, yeah, anyways, yeah.
I mean, no, I don't want to throw shade at EMAC for any reason, because I love EMAC. He seems like a cool guy.
He's a great player in his day. He's good for the sport.
I just like, why are we still making EMAC judges and stuff like that when you got so many players on your team that are currently touring that you could like...
Because he for sure owns part of that company, I think.
Well, he definitely is getting royalties. I don't know.
I mean, him and Rusko were like the ones who like practically started the whole thing.
I just feel like the EMAC judge wasn't a necessary disc in their lineup.
I'd say different, man.
How much different does it fly from a Warden?
Money. What? Considerably different.
Yeah.
If the EMAC judge flies right in between the Warden and the judge. I will say.
But like, how drastic is the Warden from the judge? Is what I'm saying.
It's a lot less stable.
The Warden's a lot straighter.
A lot less stable. Like a brand new Warden will literally, if I throw it flat, will turn over very easily. A brand new EMAC judge will go straight and fade a little, and a brand new judge is pretty stable.
See, everyone online is saying a brand new judge, because I've thrown a judge. That's all I've ever thrown.
Yeah.
Out of any of these, when I feel them, the EMAC judge feels good, the judge feels good, the Warden feels good, but they feel very similar across the board.
The Warden. Now, if you get a Warden in like the Moonshine Blast or whatever, they're pretty stable. But like the
people online though are saying the Warden is like the point and shoot straight, and a judge is straight with a little fade. And so I've just heard a lot of people saying like, what the heck? Why is there an EMAC judge now?
Okay, but like think about...
Because the EMAC truth, I understood.
Let's flip the table though. Every company has putters that overlap. It's a feel thing. Companies don't make putters.
I understand it.
For like the difference in flight, within a certain degree, like, Discraft.
I just felt like the EMAC truth made
Luna,
sense
the Roach,
because...
the Challenger, they all fly just about the same.
The Luna and the Roach, I will 100% agree. I think
the Focus.
And the Focus
flies really similar to those two.
But the Focus to the Luna is a drastic feel different.
Yeah. No, the EMAC judge was like,
the Luna and the Roach is a great example because I think the only reason the Luna exists is because Paul didn't like the name Roach. I'll go to my grave.
The EMAC judge was like, here's the judge for the guys that don't like the massive bead on the judge.
But the people who don't like beads still aren't going to like the EMAC judge. Because it still has a bead.
I don't know, dude. I've never been a guy that like cares.
I've never cared enough.
I know.
But people who care really care.
I know. I feel like, is that like a real thing? Or do people just like kind of like...
I think it gets in their head.
Yeah. Because like, I don't know. I mean, if you had a certain putting form, because
if it's like a big bead AVR, fully understand it. You'll notice that. Once you get to some of these small beads...
is so small, or like a Challenger, like you're not noticing
that. But I've heard plenty of people be like, dude, I can't throw the Challenger.
Putting is all mental anyways, though, so like I guess I get that.
Yeah.
Like you don't need
I think it's more about the plastic than the bead. Because I think, for me, whenever I picked up a beaded putter and thought, I can't throw this, it's like sticking to my hand, it's actually just because the plastic is softer.
The plastic is really like way
plastic's big key. But all I was saying was the truth made sense because like the truth had gotten away from what a truth really was, and then the EMAC truth took it back to its original. So then you had the truth that had like transitioned into this whole new disc, and so people loved it, so they couldn't just get rid of it, and so EMAC brought back the original truth, so that people like that made sense to me. The judge didn't change. The judge is the judge.
I hear you saying.
So that's what I'm just saying. I just felt like it was just like hey, stuff's not selling. Let's make an EMAC judge. That's all. It just seemed weird to me. That's all.
I don't know, man.
And I feel like
I don't know, man.
He doesn't play anymore, and you have a lot of players on their team. It just felt like there was a slot that something else could have happened. I don't even know how we got on this topic, but we did.
You started talking about EMAC, man. EMAC slander,
but
dude.
No, I don't want to slander.
You better watch out,
EMAC.
man. People love EMAC. You better watch out.
I am an EMAC.
Dude. You hate EMAC. This guy, there's a bumper sticker that says, I hate EMAC, dude.
I have played many EMAC course designs. I love him. I think that from a player, he was great. He's one of the best spin putters of all time.
He's a putting world champ, dude. Put some respect on him. That guy.
I literally just said he's one of the best.
He's
spin
a putting world champ.
I literally just put respect on his name.
I'm just saying, like, he should get. Listen, if Jay Redding gets his own putter, then EMAC gets his own.
Okay,
putter.
Perfect example. It'd be like Yeti coming out with another putter. The Yeti
EMAC
AVR
didn't have
2.0.
one before, though. He didn't have a putter. Oh, there it is.
So maybe the truth.
I rest my case.
I just felt like it wasn't that big. Like it didn't.
Dude, I'm pretty sure. Like I said, though, I'm pretty sure he
doesn't matter.
He definitely owns part of that company. He can do whatever he wants.
I don't know if he owns it, but he's been with them since the beginning, so he's got a lot of pull.
He can do whatever he wants, man.
They also don't have like a star player right now, a superstar.
No, not a superstar. They've got really.
I mean,
good
they could have
players.
made.
They've got Clemens and Melton are really solid.
Does Paige Shue have a disc? What's her name on?
I'm not sure. I think she does, but I think maybe like a defender or something. Look that up. I don't throw anything that has her name, but I'm pretty positive it's like a defender or something.
Like I know they've done like world champion like series with her,
Paige
but
was
like
there, she had the convict. And I
when
think
Paige Pierce was there.
Oh, Paige Pierce might have had the defender.
What does Paige Shue have?
I don't know, something. Surely.
Why not make it the Paige Shue judge?
Maybe she doesn't even putt with a judge.
Make it where she putts with it.
Yeah, make it.
You putt with anything if the money's right.
That's right. I'd putt with anything.
Everything flies everything flies the same within 30
I'd
feet.
putt with a bicycle tire if the money was right. It wouldn't do anything different than what I'm currently doing.
You'd probably roll away just as much as your current putters.
Just as much, man.
Anything over there, research
When do you
man?
Just look up Paige Shue's signature disc. That's
what literally was typed into my.
And is
what he Googled, man.
And I
Hop
trust
off.
you.
Put some respect on Connor's name, bro.
And it didn't point anything up.
Come on. You got nothing over there?
Or is it just tour series stuff?
Nothing?
Surely.
All right, we're just going to move on.
Yeah, I'll still be over here.
Okay. We've hinted at this throughout the show. But the Utah Open brought us back to a ever so common theme that has been talked about in the disc golf world many a times.
Yeah.
Nikko, the man, the myth, the legend, Locastro. The Utah Open gave us a real treat. That was round 1, back 9. We saw him throwing his hat, punching his bag, and finally, an all-time classic Nikko moment.
This is awesome, dude.
Kicking his mini and hitting a cameraman.
I gotta say, man, that mini kick, if you look back at it, like, I've seen way harder kicks like thrown at disc golf equipment, and the way that thing just like somehow took off, like he must have kicked it at the perfect angle.
Whoever makes that mini needs to use that as a marketing tactic, because that thing flew.
It was like perfectly flat too.
Yeah,
like, he like
it was
spun
great
it.
form. Yeah, man, let's throw a replay up and examine his form.
Yeah, form check.
But key here was all without being called on anything. So what this brings up the discussion of is how disc golf is officiated. And I want to be the first to say this is not just Nikko.
I would like to say before, and I think you may have had this, you have this on your notes, but before we go into this, you need to be in agreement that Eagle's antics at Portland were just as bad.
Absolutely, yeah. Okay. We've seen Eagle throw many tantrums.
I was going to make sure we're on the same page.
We've seen Paul punch the ground, fold his disc. We've seen, there's so many players that we could put on this list that they have done this. It's just that everyone loves to hate Nikko.
Nikko. I don't even know if Nikko is more common because I don't know.
It's just that whenever it happens with Eagle, no one really talks about it. Or whenever it happens with Paul, no one really talks about it. The second it happens with Nikko, everyone talks about it.
Typical Nikko.
Yeah.
Which, you earned that reputation.
All right, Connor, what do you got back there?
It's the Lucid X Sheriff.
The Lucid X Sheriff.
Yeah. That's the problem is that's not a stock disc.
Yeah, that's not a stock disc.
Lucid X.
It just says 2020
so
signature.
That's her signature series.
Oh, yes, signature
So
series.
she doesn't have one.
Allegedly.
As of right now. Allegedly. Let us know in the comments. Someone will know. We literally sell their discs. But that's what I'm thinking is like we've carried so many dynamic molds and I've never seen her name on one.
It sure hasn't been on one. Conspiracy.
Who knows? But yeah, it's not just Nikko. It is. So that's point number 1. Nikko is presenting this topic again. Well, by presenting, I mean kicking his mini. It's making it come up. But I don't want it to sound like we're saying this is just a Nikko problem because it's not. But we saw Brody Smith on Twitter talk about the possibility of like fines for stuff like this. Mm-hmm. That just kind of gets confusing quick because like, how do you decide what's a finable offense? And then like,
right.
I don't think the Pro Tour's in a position that they can have officials on every card or throughout the course enough all day. That's just a big financial thing.
Nobody does that.
So here's what, and it's also, it's not the Pro Tour rules. It's the PDGA rules at a Pro Tour event. I don't know if there's anything confusing there either. Here's what I've thought. I want to hear your thoughts on this. Mm-hmm. My thinking here is the only time that it's ever an issue is on coverage, right? It's the only time it ever gets brought up. There's obviously it happens when it's not on coverage, but I feel like whenever there's these high pressure, like everyone's like, why isn't the call being made? It's because we're watching it on coverage. So the only way it could potentially hurt the sport right now is being on coverage. So what I think is possibly the Pro Tour should look at having maybe 2 officials, because this is also the only way it affects the results of a tournament is if it's on lead or chase card. If someone from third card wins by a stroke because someone didn't call them on a courtesy, I mean, they just came back from third card.
That's an anomaly.
I don't think we should worry about that. But I think we just have 2 officials, one that walks with lead card and one that walks with chase card, because a tournament official is allowed to be someone who brings the stuff up. And then they're the ones who are just responsible for making sure the pacing's good, the rules are being held to. They can come in as a unbiased third party to look at rules calls and make sure, because there was even a moment after Nikko's had all these blow-ups, he throws in a bunker. It's a very questionable in or out call.
Oh, yeah. It wasn't that questionable. He was out.
It looked out from the angles. When you're in person, it might have been a little different. From the angles they were showing in coverage, it looked out. They gave it to him. They said it was in. Stuff like that.
Probably because they were like terrified.
He literally just kicked his mini and hit a guy. Like, I mean, I'm not calling that guy out. He could have been out by a mile and I'd been like, maybe it's in. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
So stuff like that, you have this third party. And then if we want to introduce fines, I think it would have to be some type of warning structure. Or maybe, because like, if you throw your hat down, that shouldn't be a fine immediately, because there's a burst of anger. That happens. I think first one, nothing gets said. Second one is like a warning. Like, hey, you already threw your hat. Now you just kicked your mini. The mini situation, that might be a different thing because he literally hit a guy.
It's also super random, like I said.
Yeah. But regardless, like, hey, you just did this. This is your official warning. You know, if you have one more outburst this round, it's going to be a fine.
Yeah.
And then don't make the fine something crazy, because at the end of the day, these guys got to still live. Make it like $50.
Okay,
Make it $100.
Yeah, I was gonna say $50. I
don't know. Make it like something where it's a fine, it's a slap on the hand, but it has some type of repercussion beyond a stroke. So a stroke in like $100 or something, and it's only on coverage. So that way, it's the ones that portray it to the audience. So it controls the appearance of the Pro Tour.
Right. You put out a press release too, saying the Pro Tour has decided to fine so and so $100 for the incidents in the final round of the coverage.
Yeah.
So that way, it's a professional look. Like, hey, we're keeping things under control.
And it also helps make sure that like someone can't bully their way to a victory because they make the rest of the card feel intimidated because of whatever's going on. To me, I think that's the solution. Just officiate. As the Pro Tour gets bigger, you can afford to have more officials out on the course and think of it that way.
This is an interesting topic because there's such a delicate balance, because I think your solution is not a bad idea. I don't think it's a bad idea at all. I think that's definitely worthwhile exploring. There's such a weird balance though, because when you're trying to get viewers and you think about like entertainment value, like you want to see emotion from players. And when you're watching coverage, I know a lot of people get annoyed at player outbursts, but when I'm watching coverage and I see a guy blowing up and outbursting, I think it's way more entertaining. Like, I will purposely watch coverage just to see it. Like, I will go to a coverage and watch it. Now, there's a balance between, like, my thing has always been, as long as the player who is throwing the tantrum, doing whatever, is not affecting the other players negatively, I think it's fine. I think he's showing emotion. Like, it's great entertainment. He's not hurting the other player's game. That's that. Whenever it gets to beyond that point, where if he were to start directing it at a player, or it just gets so obnoxious, like he's chucking his bag to where like it's just going to distract everybody, that's when it's a big problem. But it's like kind of like, it's one of those, where do you draw the lines? And the thing is, no matter how good your system is, this happens in professional sports all the time. A lot of times, it happens whenever in like contact sports, it happens with like dangerous plays, or it'll happen like in baseball with guys who get ejected for certain things. The fines are so like almost random and like completely ambiguous, because they're decided by the governing body of the league, to where everybody's always going to have an issue with the decision made. I do think self-governing is such a tough one, because there's so many players who A, just don't care, or B, are just like kind of like timid and don't want to have to. It's kind of like unfair to have to like in your round go out of your way to confront a player because he's being an idiot.
Well, the thing is, even if you care, that might throw you off your round.
Exactly. Like, you don't want to have to be like, I don't really like want to confront this guy, but I really should.
Because it also might make
it'll get you out of your zone.
It might make them start acting worse.
Right. It's such a weird balance. I think at the end of the day, like the sport has to just be protected by its own players. Like the players just have to have like there's gonna be angry outbursts. It's just part of being competitive. I think it's just up to the players to hold themselves to a high enough standard that they keep it contained enough. Because like even watching the Nikko thing, I think the biggest thing with Nikko that everybody gets so tired of, and what I agree is a little tiresome, is it's literally like as soon as things going bad, it's like every shot he throws, he's like having a fit, and it's like, all right, man, like move on to the next one.
Because like for instance, let's just go back to Eagle at Portland, right?
Right.
Like that's why I think the first one you just let go, because like he throws his whale sack at his bag, the rest of the card's up the fairway.
Yeah.
Yeah, you see it on coverage,
anybody.
but what did it affect? Nothing.
Right.
If he does it again and again to where it might start to affect people, but it definitely that's when you start warning.
Yeah, it's just something you gotta gotta analyze as the Pro Tour and just make the best decision.
And another option is you could have, let's say, 3 or 4 officials that are stationed on the course, and to where when the card's coming past these officials, someone on the card can just talk to the official and be like, "Hey, this is what's going on," whatever. So then the official just walks with it.
Yeah.
And that way, you still have to say something, but if like you're just going off, I can walk up to Connor and be like, "Hey man, like this is what's going on. I don't want to approach him."
Yeah, just keep an eye on things. Yeah.
And then it's the official now takes the responsibility of coming to where I never have to talk to you about it.
Yeah.
You might know I'm the snitch that went and talked to someone, but it's a lot easier to talk to the teacher than the kid in your class.
That's what I was wondering is once we get to where disc golf is even more developed than it is right now, at the top tier competitions, should there be an impartial person that walks with lead cards and chase cards?
It's interesting.
The tough part
because
is
even on
that
the
makes
PGA,
those almost like a ref.
Even in the PGA Tour, officials are not stationed like on every hole.
No,
like,
they're
the
That's
game
true.
of golf is just always been a game that is surrounded by integrity, and like all the players are kind of raised in this game of like you make honest decisions and your card makes honest decisions, and we all govern ourselves. And if they need help on a ruling, it's usually not even in golf, it's not usually like, hey, is this ball in or out that they're deciding on? The group can usually decide on that. It's usually, hey, we need to check on this rule. That's usually why they will call an official over, is like, do you know the decision that needs to be made here? Because in golf, there's just endless decisions.
Isn't there also, can't they use video footage in golf?
No, I believe you can't.
I thought you could.
I'm pretty
We talked about it before.
Because there was a huge scandal because some fan called in once because they saw it was on the LPGA tour. They saw Lexi Thompson incorrectly marked her ball. I think it was on accident, but they called in and then she got penalized for it, and people were freaking out because you're not supposed to be able to use video evidence. Unless that rule's changed, you're not allowed to.
From what I've seen in golf, though, a lot of times the self-officiating is exactly what it sounds like, where people are calling themselves. Like I've seen where guys put their club down and the ball rolls and they stop and they're like, "Hey, like this just happened."
It's
you know
just
what I'm
the
saying?
game, because there's also guys like Patrick Reed who have been notorious for doing things that have been like cheating, and sometimes they get burned on it. And that's just the thing too. Like you get what's coming to you. If you are a guy in disc golf that is going to be not of integrity and are going to make bad things happen, that's just going to become your reputation. And like you may get away with it sometimes, but other times you're not. You're
that's what
burned.
I think we're seeing with Nikko.
Right? Like
Nikko.
You kind of just get what you get what you put out, basically.
Yeah, other players like Eagle is owning up to it. Eagle put out like a poll on Twitter, like, "Hey, what does everyone think about what's been going on with me?" Blah blah blah. Eagle's owning up to it. Nikko has never really owned up to. He likes being the villain.
Yeah.
He likes being that guy. And so you're not that guy, pal. You're not that guy.
Yeah.
Eagle,
He's literally labeled as the villain in the USDGC hype video from like a few years ago.
One of the best videos.
It's just like it's just
sweet.
the nature of golf. I think I don't.
But I'm just saying, is like that's why when this happens, I see people get upset. Like, why are you only calling out Nikko? It's because Nikko brings it on himself. Because he's if you look time and time again, Nikko's the first person that comes to mind when you think of an outburst.
I think the bottom line is, I like the idea of having a little bit of more structure and like a fine structure in place. I was telling Hunter earlier, like in baseball, one of the where they kind of draw the line in baseball a lot of times with fines is misuse of equipment fines. So like a guy in baseball will like get out on base or whatever and chuck his helmet into the ground or do something like that, and they'll get fined for misuse of equipment. So maybe in disc golf, it's like a guy slams his bag into the ground or shakes a basket or does something like that. And that's where they kind of draw the line. Hey, like, you can't be misusing your equipment. Now that gets a little funny because it's like if a guy is meant to be thrown. Right. If a guy like bends his putter, like that's not hurting anybody. Like, so it's always going to be ambiguous.
The issue is as soon as you bring in a third party, you can say unbiased all you want, but like if I'm a third party and I'm walking with Nikko, I'm be a little bit more aware of Nikko's actions.
And you're going to be like, oh, there goes Nikko. Whereas if like Eagle does it, you might just be like a little more blind to it.
It's very hard to actually find bias.
That goes back to like, if you're Nikko, like you've earned that. So like, it's just kind of like if you're a player who is always well behaved and you have one little outburst, they're going to look the other way. That happens, once again, that happens in pro sports. There are guys, like it happens a lot in the NHL and hockey, where certain players who are notorious for being a dirtier player, if they have a hit in a game that looks a little bad, they're going to get suspended for it pretty quick. Whereas other guys who are more well-behaved do something like that, they're going to be a lot more lenient.
There's also players in the NBA that like just cry and get the foul calls, like, some people's goats. LeBron.
I'm not going to talk about basketball.
He'll get the foul call when other people wouldn't.
I know you love to talk about basketball in this podcast.
This is a foul to LeBron. And then he throws the ball in the stands and rolls around on the ground for 10 minutes crying because like he just got elbowed in the face, when if you throw him into the 80s with the bad boy Pistons, he's literally getting the snot beat out of him, and what's he going to do about it?
You're right.
Cry to his mom.
Nobody in the 80s could beat LeBron. You're so right. Continue.
We're not going into this, man.
Continue. I just want to
we're going to jump into the world section of the show, finally. But what we're going to do is, this was an idea submitted by a fan. I thought it was a pretty good idea because this gives us a chance to debate, but in a healthy way.
There's no such thing.
Basically, we're about midway through the season, maybe a little bit more. This isn't going to be our top 10 prediction for like who's going to finish in the top 10, but going into Worlds Week, we have to decide together our top 10 players in the world.
That's sweet.
Yeah, so we're gonna collaborate on this. Who do we think the top 10? I think we start at number 10 and work our way up to number 1. So
we might want to.
I have to rework mine a little bit because I forgot a player existed when I wrote this.
Yeah, you're a punk, dude.
But right now,
himself an analyst.
I've never once called myself an analyst.
Good.
I refuse. Actually, my Twitter bio literally says my rating's too low for my opinion to matter because I find that funny. Anyways,
if yours is too low, then yikes.
So we'll just start at number 10.
Okay.
Who would you put at number 10 right now? Because I got to think through mine again.
My number 10, I think, and I actually might even shift from what I even just wrote down here, but my number 10 is going to be Nikko Locastro.
Oh shoot! Oh gosh, I had Nikko way farther up.
I don't. He just threw a fit on the same course the world is about to be on.
This isn't 4 Worlds. This is the top 10 players in the world going into Worlds Week.
That's not how you explained it to me yesterday.
That's exactly how I explained it.
Okay.
This isn't going to be like who we think's going to finish.
I really don't need to change it though.
Remember, no arguing, guys. Remember.
No, this is healthy argument.
I really don't need to.
There's a point to it.
I really don't. I really still don't feel like changing it.
My number 10 is James Conrad.
See, okay, so how about we give like our 8 through 10, and then see if we can work backwards to kind of like work it together. So my 8 through 10, going from 8 to 10, is James, Nikko, and Kyle.
See, mine's Kevin Jones, Kyle Klein, James.
Or rather, no, my bad. It'd be James, Kyle, Nikko.
So my 8 is Kevin Jones, my 9 is Kyle Klein, and my 10 is James Conrad.
Okay, so let's just agree to put Kyle at 9, because I had Kyle at 9 as well. And where do you have James?
10. Do you have a pen?
I can get one.
Yeah, grab me a pen. This is going to get confusing fast. I can already feel it. So we have Kyle at 9.
So let's put James. You had James at.
I have James at 10.
At 10, I can put James at 10.
Okay, so we have James at 10, Kyle at 9.
I can do that.
And then I have Kevin Jones at 8.
See, I have Kevin Jones at 6.
I have Nikko at 6.
That is so high.
Well, because
that is so high. I understand where he is in the Pro Tour standings, but
no. Sorry, I have Nikko at 7 because I have to adjust everyone down 1 from where I'm putting the other player in.
Okay, that's
so I have
closer.
Nikko at 7.
That's closer, but there's still gonna have to be a compromise here.
There's got to be something.
All right, we got a pen.
All right, we got a pen coming in hot. Oh, there's a fancy pen, Connor. This thing's weighted. Feel that.
A pilot pen. I know about the pilot pen.
Dang.
I've been knowing about the pilot pen.
It's like makes me feel like I'm about to sign an official document.
Just write 1 through 10, and we'll work something out here. I think we just we're gonna have to. So
we agreeing on James Conrad at 10.
Put James at 10 and Kyle at 9.
We've agreed on those. All right, Kyle Klein, 9.
That I can work with that. The problem is me having Nikko at 9 while you have him at 7.
So he's meet at 8.
Or no, I had it at 10.
I have my 8 right now is Kevin Jones.
Oh yeah, we could put Nikko at 8.
Put Nikko at 8.
Yeah, we can put
fine
Nikko
with
at 8.
that.
I works with me. That's not far off.
Nikko's at 8.
Okay.
So do we want to go Kevin Jones 7?
See, okay, this is where my 4 or my 5 through 7, because I can already tell where we're gonna have the difference because my 5 is Hammers. I have Hammers, Jones, Dickerson for 5 through 7.
So I have. This is getting so confusing.
What's your 5 through 7?
Adam Ham is my 5.
Oh,
so we can just leave him there.
We can put him at 5. What is your list?
And then I have Dickerson.
Where do you have Dickerson?
Well, it's because Nikko got moved now, so it's throwing me
I
off.
have Dickerson at 7 and Jones at 6.
I have Dickerson at 6 and Jones at 7.
Okay, well, we can do that then.
Because Nikko was up there.
That's fine.
So we're putting Jones at 7, Kevin Jones at 7?
Yeah, that's fine. And Dickerson at 6, that's fine. Okay,
and then
this
Dickerson
is
at 6.
easier than I thought.
This isn't bad. Look at us. Look at us being constructive. I don't know what the point of this top 10 is.
We're establishing our top 10.
All right, and then the top
The point
4,
is
I think
friendship.
we both have the same 4 people. But the question is, so my number 4 is Calvin.
Well, see, I was confused because I thought this was our predicting world. So, like, this is the same as my world's prediction.
No, yeah, I wanted this to be like our ranking.
Well, it's going to be the same.
Okay, well, I have Calvin at 4.
I had Calvin at 3
I put Calvin at 4 because of
if we were
Santa
doing
Cruz.
ranking, then yes, I would put Calvin at 4.
Okay, so we're putting Calvin
But
at 4.
I didn't know we were doing that. And if we were doing ranking, I'd put Paul at 3.
Yes, that's what I have, and then I have Ricky at 2 and Eagle at 1.
Yeah, I would do the exact same thing.
Boom! We just did that.
Yeah.
Look at us.
It was made a
That
lot
was
more
so much
simpler
easier than ever.
Once I realized, I think we may have been identical had we actually, if I actually understood the assignment that was given.
There we go. You know, who would have thought that was going to be so easy?
So we're saying that's like top 10 players.
So
but
here's
that's
our top 10 players in the world going into Worlds Week.
But that has nothing to do.
This is not our Worlds predictions. This is
Okay.
our top 10 ranking.
Yeah.
Number 1 player in the world right now is Eagle McMahon. He has 3 Pro Tour wins.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard to deny that. Number 2, closely behind Eagle, is Ricky Wysocki. I mean, he could easily be number 1.
Yeah.
He's not, in my eyes. He's close. Number 3, Paul Macbeth. And number 4, Calvin Heimberg. To me, those 4 are interchangeable any week, almost.
Yeah, pretty much.
But Ricky and Eagle have definitely separated themselves this year. Number 5, after his recent win, Adam Hammes. Number 6, this is where it gets a little interesting.
After 2 recent wins.
Wins.
Hammes is
Number 6, where it gets a little interesting because we haven't seen him in a while because he doesn't go out west, is Dickerson. But
Yes.
you have to have him in your top 10.
so confusing.
He's so good, but you don't know how good.
I know. I wish you would tour.
Number 7, Kevin Jones. 8, Nikko. Number 9, Kyle Klein. Number 10, James Conrad. The only one that was on my original list, because I forgot, Dickerson is the player I forgot because he hasn't been at tournaments recently, is I had Drew Gibson.
Gibson
I had
and
Drew
like
Gibson at
Double
9.
G are like the snubs from this list.
I had Drew Gibson above James Conrad in my original list, but I am completely fine with putting James Conrad over Drew Gibson because I think where Calvin, Paul, Ricky, Eagle are interchangeable, I think Drew, James, Double G, and almost Kyle Klein are
a
interchangeable.
lot of like the whole rest of the top 20 are like interchangeable.
Yeah, any weeks you could flip a coin and someone's
Once
gonna
you
land
get outside of like that top 7, it becomes a mystery.
Yeah. Now, we decided not to do FPO because it's a lot more set in stone. We'd probably do FPO top 5, and I feel like it's pretty especially
simple.
the top 3 are
It's been a
solid.
little more difficult because
we could argue about 4 and 5.
Injured.
But I mean, it'd go Paige, Cat, Haley King for 3. And that's
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Like, I would pick Sarah Hokum more into 3rd if she wasn't been.
but she's been
she's
hurt for a while.
so we don't
It's hard to know
know.
where she's
Yeah,
at. Yeah, I mean, I just felt like I thought MPO we were going to debate a lot more. It turns out MPO is apparently pretty cut and dry.
it kind of is right now. At least, like I said, those top like 7 spots.
The top
Like, we're
7.
not going to be more than 1 off.
Yeah.
And that's how it was.
Yeah.
I'm not going to argue 7 versus 8.
No.
It's too random. Disc golf is like there's so much parity this year, and it's great.
Yeah, it's been an amazing
It's
year.
really fun.
And let's look at it. We're finally here. The week everyone's waiting on. It's early this year. The World Championship begins next Tuesday. There's going to be live coverage all week on the Disc Golf Network.
Yeah.
Worlds is going to be such a great event to watch live. Get to consume the moment a world champion is crowned live. But it'll also be post-produced, as always, by, I'm sure, the same, like Jomez, Gatekeeper, GK Pro, Central Coast, I would imagine. I'm sure all of them will have
All
posters
the big
as well.
dogs, yeah.
So what we're going to do is we're going to have our follow-up on Friday. So basically, there should be a free stream on Saturday on YouTube, the final round. The follow-up basically gets you ready for that stream. So Friday night, we'll be going live immediately following the live coverage of Worlds and give you all the stats, storylines, everything going into the final day. Everything to look at, the predictions that we think are about to happen, all of that stuff. Super fun show. It is a little bit more of the analyst side where we look deeper into the stats and what the stats are telling us, what you should look out for tell-wise as to like who might be pushing, who might not be. And then we're going to do our first companion stream. We're probably going to do this for USDGC too, but on Saturday for the final round, for the live coverage, we're going to be doing a companion stream. It's going to be a little bit more relaxed, just kind of hang out with us. We're just going to watch the World's coverage. So you'll be able to have the World's coverage pulled up in one tab and then have us pulled up in the other tab and just hang out and watch some disc golf with us.
Yeah, see our reactions live.
Yeah, it's going to be super fun. We've never done a companion stream. I'm really excited for it because we're going to watch it anyway, so why not all watch it together?
All I'm hoping for this world, as much as I want certain people to win and whatnot, all I really hope, especially with this companion stream, is that there's drama.
Oh, I want drama.
I just want it to be like Portland Open again, where it's like I literally was just like audibly yelling.
Yeah.
As things were happening, I was just like was so excited. Like I just want
we've got
it to be so dramatic.
Maybe on the follow up we'll put something on the line. Where we got something riding on it.
We should do some like some live like wagers on the companion stream.
Yeah.
Yeah, people give us ideas, just be like, hey, this is on the line if Eagle birdies this next hole.
Yeah. Just something to make it a little more like,
Yeah. Or maybe we even
make it more intense.
Here's an idea. Maybe we even like each start out with like poker chips. We could each get like a stack and we wager them throughout the companion stream, and then there's like one big reward or punishment for whoever comes out on the wrong end of the of who has like the most chips. We just wager them throughout.
Yeah, we gotta have something.
We can get everybody in on it.
Yeah, that'd be really fun.
That would be kind of fun.
So we'll have something like that, but you're definitely not going to miss the companion stream. So let's go ahead and jump into the courses. So the World's going to be featured on two courses. The two courses we just saw for the Utah Open. There's the Fort, which is more of your traditional disc golf course. Mm-hmm. It doesn't seem like super technical per se, but it's got some good distance, trees, defining lines. There seems to be a decent bit of like natural-ish OB. It should be a pretty challenging course. For the Utah Open, 7 under was a hot round. What do you always get on me for? Say -7? 7 under is the right way to say it.
You usually don't say -7.
No, I went
-7 is wrong though. Yeah,
okay.
7 under.
7 under is right.
Is like the right way to say.
I don't know why.
If you say 7 down,
why is -7 wrong?
7 down is what I say. 7 down. Is that wrong?
That number -7, right? When you look at it, it stands for 7 under par. That is what it stands for. So -7. You might be interpreting it as it's written out, but that's not a correct golf term. That's why it's wrong. 7 down.
Disc golf or ball golf?
Golf in general. Where they got the idea from, golf.
Okay.
So -7 was the hot round for you.
The thing is, like the 7 up, 7 down thing.
Because I say negative sometimes.
I will
just don't do it.
I will.
7 up, 7 down. I won't ever do it again. Wrong, but
I'm
like
a purebred disc golfer, so when I hear I didn't play golf.
Oh, dude, I shot -8.
So when
that one really gets me.
Yeah, I shot like a -7 out there. I've said that many a time. I was scared when I'm trying to.
I think it's also confusing.
It would have been a lot more professional for me just to say -7 and us not have the conversation, but I said 7 under and then I thought I was wrong and it scared me. 7 under was the hot round at the Fort. Excellent. We're just going to say that. Okay, whereas the Mulligan, 11 under was hot. So that's kind of the scoring differential at the Utah Open. It kind of gives us a glimpse.
I like that 7 under was only the hot round at the course they're going to play more.
It kind of gives us a glimpse at what we're going to be looking at difficulty-wise. So there's 3 rounds at the Fort, only 2 rounds at the golf course. It does seem like I don't even want to say there's more separation. I think the separation looked pretty similar between the two, like scoring separation wise. There's definitely a chance to get farther under par though at Mulligan, which is the golf course. But there's also a chance for more weird OB and hazard stuff to go on. So it should make for a pretty interesting event. The two courses do seem to contrast each other pretty well, and I think it'll be a fun week. I do want to get into some predictions though.
Yes.
So on MPO, this is tough.
It's really tough. I'm going to be so nervous watching.
Yeah.
I'm going to be so nervous, man. Worlds is just a different animal.
I think, so Eagle coming into this event has a solid chance. I think you can't deny that.
Sure.
You can never, ever count Paul out at a world championship. Since 2012, he's either won or come in second at every one.
Yeah.
But I think Ricky walks away with his third world title this year.
Yeah.
I think we're about to see Ricky, 3-time world champion. I do think Paul's going to come in second. He always just pushes at Worlds. He'll be in sometimes in 5th place going to the final round, and McBeast mode just comes on and he'll come in second. It wouldn't surprise me to see Paul win by any means. I don't think it would surprise anyone. But for some reason, I just feel like this is Ricky's year. I don't know what it is.
It does feel like it, doesn't it?
So I'm going Ricky first, Paul second, and I'm sneaking Chris Dickerson in third, mainly because I think he's going to play well at the Fort.
Yeah.
And the golf course isn't like your traditional golf course. It requires a little more touch, which Dickerson has a lot of.
That's valid.
So I don't know. That could be a bad pick, but I feel like at Worlds there's always someone who you don't really, really expect to be in there. So I didn't want to put Calvin Heimberg or an Eagle in third because I expect them. So I was trying to expect the unexpected, and that led me to Dickerson.
I like that. Okay.
Which is funny because literally 5 minutes earlier when I was writing, not earlier today, but in the timeline of planning this, I forgot Dickerson existed for my top 10, and then I predicted him to come in third at Worlds. How does my brain work? I don't know. But what's your top 3?
So my top 3 is pretty similar. First 2 are the same. I'm also thinking.
Oh, you think it's Ricky as well?
I think Ricky's going to win as well.
Now, Connor, whenever I said Ricky was going to win, you started shaking your head. Do you not have the same feeling that we have?
No, I wanted to ask you another question though. So that's who you think is going to win, but who are you rooting for? Who do you want to win?
I want good golf. I mean, obviously, I want Paul to win his 6th because I'm his friend, and obviously,
I'm a Paul fan.
No, I wasn't shaking my head. I like Ricky more this year than I've ever liked this year.
Yeah.
One time we talked on the podcast about how there's those fans that actively root against other people because of how much they like other. I was like that. I actively rooted against Ricky, not just for Paul, but against Ricky. I actually really like Ricky this year because of the interviews on the Nick Matt show. So I actually really like him now.
I mean, if we had to be dead honest,
but
if I could pick anybody to win, it'd be Brody.
Yeah, okay, definitely, yeah, Brody. But I the reason why I shake my head is because I'm so used to not liking Ricky. But I do think I'm with you though. I think he's gonna win. But I really want Paul up there.
I'll be rooting for Paul to win his 6th. But I'm not going to be rooting against Ricky.
Yeah.
I don't think is there anyone in the field you're rooting against that you really just don't want to see?
I don't want to see Eagle win.
You don't want to see Eagle win?
I don't know why.
When I root for people, if I'm rooting for Paul, I root hard for Paul. I will watch anybody mess up an infinite amount of times, and I will cheer it on. I'm a scumbag fan. I
am in other sports, but for some reason,
when Paul was coming back at the Portland Open, I was actively cheering out loud for people missing putts. And that's partially too, I will say, if let's say Paul's not in it, and it's just a bunch of guys that I'm more indifferent to, I will definitely
I pick one.
Then at that point I root for the drama. I root for anybody who's in the lead to mess up. If there's a guy I'm rooting for in it, then I'm gonna root for them. But if there's nobody I'm rooting for really in it, and it's kind of just a bunch of players, then I'm just gonna root for drama.
I just want to not be able to tell who's gonna win until crunch time.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I would say unless it's Paul.
I'm almost sneakily rooting for Nikko in a small way.
Oh, I would. If Nikko gets
or Emerson.
Contention,
Emerson would be cool too.
No, dude. Why?
Because I think it'd be weird.
That's another Barsby, though.
No, I agree.
You're right, except for I like him more than I like Barsby.
It's better for the sport when the top players win Worlds.
You're right.
It's better.
That way it's not You're right.
I
didn't even say my third place yet.
I apologize.
No, yeah, you haven't. Well, did you finish your prediction?
Calvin.
Who was your
not
second?
exciting.
Ricky, Paul, Calvin?
Ricky, Paul, Calvin.
Yeah. I agree. Having a random player win.
Anthony Barella is 90% healed.
You're right.
His Insta story,
I agree with you now.
He's going to win.
Having a random player win any other event is great. Mm-hmm. Like having a Barsby win Waco.
Worlds, you just want the
Worlds,
best player.
you just want the prestige of Worlds to stay there. And no offense to Barsby, he is and will always be a world champion. But having a player like Barsby be a world champion, it doesn't
you don't want there to be room for a fluke
because they're
at the biggest tournament.
Yeah, it's just
he's not a top player.
Barsby he's touring this year, but when have we ever said his name?
He's not doing anything. Yeah, I would say and when we say we don't want a random player winning, if you're anybody within the top 20, 25, that's fine. A player that's consistently
up there
to where always
unless Brody
about.
wins, it's not a fluke.
Well, he's top 23. He's
21st.
21st. So
in the Pro Tour rankings.
Technically,
I want him to be up there so bad.
I hope he's on lead card or something.
Personally, I think Brody's his like tournament to like contend is USDGC.
Yeah, I agree.
I think he's going to contend there.
Can you imagine that?
That would be
awesome.
electrifying.
USDGC, I don't hate as much because it's known for randomness. So like it's known for that. Like,
but who's one that's random?
Wasn't
You're right.
I mean, Jeremy Colling.
Yeah, but that was the weather year, and he was in his prime
But
at that.
yeah,
point.
that
there's
was
not.
a good year.
It's
for
the
him,
hardest
though.
tournament for people to regularly win.
True, but
like,
it
you
kind
have
of changes within top
Your winners,
players,
you
though.
have Nate Sexton,
who was
Big
in his
Germ,
prime, who was in his prime,
James Conrad.
who had his best season of his career.
Yeah, but I'm saying
When Barsby won that year, he wasn't having the best season of his career. He just like all of a sudden won.
no. But I'm saying USDGC is known for that randomness.
Yeah,
Whereas like it's not like going into it, you don't expect the top players to win. You
right.
expect
But
them to
at
be in
least
contention.
Yeah, it
the
could be
randomness
anybody.
is coming from one of the best players.
Yes, I agree with that.
I just don't want. I don't
just
have a
worlds
problem.
worlds. I guess I wouldn't have had a problem if Sexton or Conrad won worlds those years.
Yeah, that's what it's more so like if it's a guy like who this year has been good all year, they're always talking about the wins worlds, and it's kind of like, oh, that was a little bit random. That's one thing. But if it's somebody who like Emerson who has been nowhere,
Yeah, and then randomly
wins worlds, and then afterwards, it's also another thing. Like if
It
Barsby
confuses the prestige of the event.
right, because if Barsby were to have won worlds, and then from then on he would have been a top player on tour, and then it's like that's fine. Like that was the beginning of his run of being a good touring player. But
Yeah.
it's just like he's not relevant anymore. And I know the Greg Barsby fans hate us right now, but like he's been like
I'm a
outside the
Barsby
top
fan,
50
but
like all
let's
year.
just look
Like,
at his. Let's just look at him.
we did this like last week. He hasn't had a good year at all.
What did we do on the podcast?
No, but I can just tell you, he's been like inside the top 20 like once, and because it was in Cali, I think.
It's because he can't get his hands on.
He
those
had
Pro
like one.
Thunderbirds.
He had one high finish, and it was at De La because he knows that course.
How do you spell his name? It's two G's.
2 G's? Double
Why isn't
G.
he the double G? So he came in 64th at Las Vegas. I'm only going to read NTs or like Elite Series. 64th at Las Vegas, 78th at Waco, 11th at Texas State, 34th at DDO, 26th at OTB, 5th at Masters Cup,
Yeah.
and then 57th at Portland. So yeah,
I've been good.
but regardless, I just had this feeling Ricky's going to win. I'm not rooting against anyone. I won't say. I couldn't look at a list and just be like, if that guy wins Worlds, crap.
It's not for me. It's not even like that. It's not even like if a certain player, because like
We're just going to see how it shakes up.
it's not even like a certain player. I'm like, I really don't want to see them win. It's just like I'll be disappointed when other players that I really want to see win don't win. That's
Yeah.
more so what it is for me. At the end of the day, like even some of the guys that are like the top 10 players that I don't root for as much, like if one of them wins, that's fine. It's not bad for the sport at all.
On the FPO side, looking
Hope
at
Kevin
FPO
Jones
predictions,
wins, man. Kevin Jones, let's go.
I'd love for KJ USA, bring home the world title.
KJ Worlds.
KJ Global.
KJ
KJ
Global.
KJ International.
KJ Mr. Worldwide.
Sounds like an
Mr.
sounds like-
Worldwide.
KJ Pitbull.
Thank you for flying with KJ International.
Yeah, honestly, I trust that airline.
On FPO, you'd have to be crazy to not think Paige is going to win.
Yeah, you'd have to be pretty crazy.
Are you crazy, Connor? Okay, yeah.
I
got Paige, Kat, Kristen the Tatar.
got Kristen in second.
Oh, okay. I just don't know what to expect from Kristen the Tatar.
I just know that
She
Paige beat Kat by 9 at
Yes.
the same courses,
Yes.
so that's where I'm kind of at.
That's very valid, but I just don't know what to expect from Kristen.
Yeah.
She's a former U.S. women's champion. She's obviously won
She's
at the
super
highest
good.
level,
Yeah.
but like it's been a while. I'm super excited to see her return and see what she can do.
Yeah.
Looking at the list, it seems like she is the only like top tier European woman coming. So we aren't going to see Evelina and Henna.
Next year
Yeah.
will be the year.
I'm definitely excited for them to come back, but I wish they could have done it now. But Kristen Tatar, at least we got her back. It's going to be exciting to see what she can do and see if she can actually sneak in the top 3. And finally for Worlds, dark horse prediction. I'm going tried and true. The one, the only, Mr. Nicholas Carl. Oh. Yeah. I'm going to be honest with you.
I know him.
I have never seen Nick play the quality of golf that he is playing right now.
That's a good
And
pick.
I feel like he's coming into form just in time for Worlds. Not that he's going to push for a win or something, but I could see him pushing like a top 30 finish.
What's his rating?
996, I believe.
That's a good
He's
pick.
up there.
That's a really good pick.
But I've just been super impressed with him recently.
Nick
Every
is
time
really
I've seen
good.
him playing, he just came off his first B tier win where he beat Cody Bradshaw at one of Cody Bradshaw's home courses, which
Nick is good, man.
is very impressive. I don't know how the Utah courses are going to play for him, but I just got a good feeling. I think he's going to have a solid performance at Worlds.
That's a really good choice.
I've got Zach Arlinghouse.
Sorry, Zach.
The young, sorry, buddy. It's not your week. But he's 999 rated, and he's really young and talented. Maybe because he's so young, it won't get to his head.
He slapped me around at 2 days in May here in Virginia when he was like 12.
He's like he's a lefty too, isn't he? He's a lefty.
Yeah, he's a lefty.
Yeah, he's super good.
He's so good.
But he's not going to be super good this week because I've just picked him.
We got to remember to keep up with Dark Horse picks during the companion stream. To be
absolutely.
watching those scores.
I usually star him on my U-Disc.
Yeah.
Keep up with him.
I'm going with Tanner Gerard.
Oh,
okay.
man, that's a cursed pick, bro.
He let me down.
That's like the
ago.
only week that Hunter's ever lost to me.
He's played a lot of tournaments.
He does play a lot.
He does.
He does.
And
he's not new.
And he's done pretty decent. Well,
how'd you not pick Tristan Tanner? He just won me one last week.
Because you just picked him last week.
You just picked him, man. That's boring.
I mean, I almost picked him again.
Respect the game, man.
So I'm gonna. He is 998 rated. My highest rated pick so far.
That's the highest rated. No, 999. We have 999, 998, 996.
Yeah, listen.
I'm the lowest rated with
Look at us,
996.
man. Yeah,
Impressive.
look at us.
But I don't know.
Okay.
That's pretty much the Dark Horse.
I
don't know.
I just looked at he's played a lot this year, which makes me feel like he's practiced and he's placed pretty well. Not really at any A tier events, but at C and B
he's
tier,
performing at
placed
C tiers.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
Nick
All right. Well, it doesn't
Nick,
matter.
you know what you gotta do, man.
You're safe because like my pick's gonna lose, so it's whatever. Like,
You know what you gotta do, Nick.
no, Zach, you got this, man.
I mean,
break the curse.
The Dark Horse pick for Worlds has to be like way more intense than a cup of coffee, right?
No, it doesn't.
Pink slips?
Because I can't do that. You can't do that
No.
to me.
Because it's Worlds. It's the
you want
biggest
pink
tournament of the
slips?
year.
Yeah, I was about to say no because I don't want to. I can't drive stick, so I don't want your 1980. And your thing is,
You don't want to drive a ticking time bomb.
yeah, I don't want to just keep pouring money down a drain in your car. So never mind.
That's so mean, dude.
This is like the first time I've ever been in a circle where my car isn't the most unreliable.
I don't know, dude. I mean, if we really compared dollars,
I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah, I don't know. It's probably
So what are we putting on the line?
Yeah, what are we
coffee.
Nah, man.
No.
I'm with Connor here.
Coffee
It's
cake.
Worlds.
It's got to be at least
What about a
Chick-fil-A.
meal? What about a Chick-fil-A?
At least
A meal
Chick-fil-A.
at Chick-fil-A.
Fine,
It's twice
Chick-fil-A.
as expensive.
Chick-fil-A. Fine.
For majors, I think all majors should have Chick-fil-A on the line.
There's only two of them, so whatever. Chick-fil-A.
All right, I'm okay with Chick-fil-A.
Zach could perform well and win you this, man.
Zach, he's already withdrawing as we're speaking.
He's breaking his leg as we're speaking.
Yeah, like he literally, I feel a disturbance, like something just happened.
Disturbance in the force. He just like goes out and out of nowhere. He can't throw his left hand. He's like,
what's
what the heck
happening,
just
man?
happened to
Yeah,
me?
why can't I putt? Like, it's like that transferred his powers, like the Monstars.
to Nick Carl. That's what just happened. Nick Carl just
Yeah.
got amazing.
All right.
All right, Chick-fil-A on the line. I'll
Whatever.
text you my order tomorrow.
I'm gonna get you a kale. I'm gonna get you a kale salad.
Kale
side.
crunch?
Yeah, kale crunch, and a little bag of granola.
Actually, the Kale Crunch comes with almonds.
Well, no, I'm gonna.
The market salad comes with
I'm gonna get a
granola.
separate bag of granola.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
We get it. You're healthy, Connor. Okay?
yeah, bro. We get it. You eat kale.
I used to work at Chick-fil-A.
Didn't everybody?
No.
No,
Not me.
So just
couldn't
Connor.
be me.
There's always one person in every group, though.
There is.
isn't
There's always at least one that works
Yeah.
at Chick-fil-A.
always one.
All right, so we're going to wrap up the show with a Make That Call. This was actually submitted via email. It's also the first time I've used via by Sean.
Nice, dude.
So I'm going to just read you exactly what he sent me.
Okay.
So just paint yourself in a scenario. So there's a double Mando, tree trunk left and a tree trunk on the right.
Yeah.
Player
okay.
one's tee shot flies through the Mando, gets lifted with a headwind, hits the tree branches of the Mando tree on the right, but past the tree trunk, comes down on the disc's edge, and rolls back behind the Mando on the outside of the Mando tree trunk, tee pad side of the Mando. I don't know what that sentence means.
What?
Just picture, this is how I was picturing
Basically,
it.
you make the Mando, and then it
His
comes
disc
back.
flies through the Mando, a headwind lifts it up, it gets hit by the tree branch, goes down, and then rolls behind and goes on the other side of the Mando.
So it makes it again, but misses it.
It passes
So
the
it makes
tree trunk.
it, comes back, misses it.
Yep. Player 1 insists the Mando was made. Players 2 and 3 on your card agree, but player 4
Dude, that's tricky.
says the Mando was missed.
Because it didn't come to a rest.
A provisional was played from the Mando drop zone, and the original line was played out. The provisional scored a circle 4, while the original lie scored a 3. What is the correct call?
So I think, at first I was thinking, oh, like, yeah, he made the Mando. Like, I think the Mando's already made. It's like a checkpoint. But then I thought, well, the disc didn't come to rest. So I think my final answer is going to be he missed the Mando because the disc, when it came to rest, was it had missed the Mando.
So we actually might need to kind of discuss this one because this is a very confusing situation that I couldn't find covered in the rules.
Okay.
From what I could tell, once a Mando has been made, it doesn't matter what happens.
But what do they establish as made Mando?
Well, see, that's the thing.
That's
the technical rules just establish what a Mando is. If you go into the Q&A section of the PDGA rules, you can find charts that cover a lot of things, but don't cover this one.
Ooh,
because
PDGA.
What they cover is basically... Let's say you threw a hyzer is the best example. And the hyzer went through the Mando, then the headwind stalled it and comes back around the other side.
Right. But
then your Mando has been made.
This one makes it, comes back through the same gap and then misses
and then goes around, right?
Before it comes to rest.
So that's where it's really confusing. So what I decided was...
Well, based on
the Mando
before,
had been made.
I feel like it's going to count.
What I had decided was the Mando had been made. And so looking at the rules and everything, once the disc had passed through it... Because, like, look at it this way. If his throw did come to rest through it, and then his next throw went back through the Mando and around to the left, like a cut roller.
Yeah, but this is on one shot.
Though. I don't know.
This is where it's tricky. I would, if I were in the group, I would have given it to him.
And the second thing I put was the majority agree that the Mando had been made. So most likely, 90% of times, this would never even make it to a provisional.
Yeah.
Because 3 people on the card said, yeah, he made the Mando.
I think I would, if I were on the card, I would be like, yeah, you made the Mando.
Now, the technical ruling there...
Because of how ridiculous it is.
I don't really know. But it happened in a tournament. So this guy literally saw it happen.
Maybe we got to submit that to the PDGA. I think they would agree and say the Mando was made.
Yeah, because to me, the Mando got made, and then
what a tricky one, though. Like, if you can't really tell if it made it past the Mando or not, if it's, like, right in between.
Exactly.
Oof. It's just like these one-in-a-million things, though. The card just has to come to an agreement. Be like, yeah, you made it, or I don't think you did.
So our call is going to be a 3, that the Mando was made.
I'm going to say so, yeah.
I want to know your thoughts in the comments. What you think? Was the Mando made? Was it not? That's going to wrap up the show. Just a reminder, we got the companion stream and the follow-up for the World Championship coming next Friday and Saturday. Next week's show is going to be still talking about Worlds, but it's going to be kind of in the middle of Worlds because we're going to shoot it on Wednesday and Worlds starts on Tuesday. So that's why we wanted to make sure this week was our kind of Worlds week. So next week's show might be a little bit different. We'll talk through kind of what we saw the first day, how the course is playing, if there's any outliers, weird stuff going on. And then be sure to tune into the follow-up live Friday night. We'll post about that as it gets closer. That's next Friday night, and the companion stream next Saturday. You're not going to miss out on those. They're going to be super fun, and hopefully it'll make watching Worlds even more entertaining to watch it live. I think that's going to be it. Thank you all so much for your support with the Photon Zones. If you're listening here on Apple Podcasts, leave us a review. We really appreciate all of those. And if you're not listening on Apple Podcasts but you have any feedback, feel free to tweet at us or send us a DM or something like that. Other than that, we will talk to you all next week.